freaking Drew Brees accuracy
God.
last year at the Pro Bowl game.
It was impressive. You probably will. Rodgers and the Steelers facing the Packers this week on Sunday night in Pittsburgh. Rodgers won a Super Bowl in Green Bay, played there for 18 seasons. New on NFL Live, here's Rodgers today, who was asked about Brett Favre, who also left Green Bay late in his career.
Well, Brett got traded, and then he went to one of the hated rivals. You know, I was in New Jersey for a couple years. I don't have any animosity toward the organization. Obviously, I wish that, you know, things have been better in our last year there, but, you know, I have a great relationship with a lot of people still in that organization.
He looks like he can still do anything. What's surprising for such an old man, he's still moving around pretty good too. This guy is extremely accurate. If you give him just a sliver of light, he can fit the ball in there.
I love that Little Flirt called him such an old man. I think it's a little tongue-in-cheek. Our Steelers reporter Brooke Pryor joining us now. Rodgers is facing his old team. How is he feeling about it this week, Brooke?
Well, Laura, what I picked up on when he said there's no animosity toward my former organization, I asked him, is that something that you always felt, or did you have to evolve to reach this place of feeling like there's no animosity? And he smiled and he said, well, absence makes the heart grow fonder, maybe. But he said, you know, he would have liked to ride off into the sunset after he won the Super Bowl in his career there, but that's not how things ended up working out. He said he saw the writing on the wall when the team drafted Jordan Love, and then later in 2022, when he got hurt against the Eagles, Love came in, played well, completed 6 of 9 passes, had a touchdown for 120 yards. He said he knew at that point that if he was going to keep playing, he was going to have to do it elsewhere. Now, if you'll remember also, he's already had one revenge game, quote unquote, earlier this year when he played the Jets, and he was asked by a teammate, how did it feel? And he said, look, I spent 18 games here, but it's going to feel different when I play the Packers because that was 18 years. I asked him about that today, and he clarified and said that it would feel even more different if this game was in Lambeau, his former home. Instead, feels different, but not as different as it would feel if he was playing this game in Green Bay.
Okay, so these are great details, and yet, Brooke, you know this so well. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he likes a good revenge moment, okay? I think it's just going to be the way he's going to look at all this. Thanks so much, Brooke Pryor, for the latest in all of this. As we get ready for this one, Field, Micah Parsons coming off the 3-sack game. Of course, can the Packers defense get pressure on Rodgers in this one? Excuse me. Yes, the Packers defense.
Yes, I know. It feels
I was about to say, like, wait, what? It didn't feel right.
We were
Still feels weird.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. Muscle memory has us trained to think of Rodgers and Green Bay as one and the same. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about the Browns playing the Steelers, and Aaron had some sound, and he said the game plan when you play number 95, meaning Myles Garrett, 4 hands in every play, right? You got to have an offensive tackle, tight end, running back, second offensive lineman. I don't care what it is, but you got to find a way to slow him down. Well, when they played against the Cleveland Browns, it was probably the most neutralized that Garrett has been in any game this season. 0 quarterback hits, 0 tackles for loss. As you see, he was double-teamed 11 times when the Steelers faced off against Myles Garrett. All that applies to Micah Parsons. It might be coming from a different side of your offensive line, but the same thing applies because Micah reminded us this past Sunday, especially when it's obvious passing situations, there's really no answer for him in terms of offensive tackles that can handle him for a full game.
I think the Packers defense has left us all wanting more from the unit.
Yeah.
Really good moments this past weekend, certainly close.
Prior to that, though, yeah.
But you can run the football on them, specifically in this game, Pittsburgh, who's really leaned into this 6 offensive line and tight end grouping. That's something that the Cardinals did. That's a 6th offensive lineman and tight ends to the bottom of the screen. They did it multiple times and ripped off multiple 5, 6, 7, almost 10-yard runs. The second thing is this, and I know Hawk has talked about it. The secondary is fine, but they're not really difference makers without the pressure. And the third thing is, if I was a quarterback, I'm not necessarily concerned with giving my guy chances on the football. It just doesn't seem right now that the back end is taking the ball away. They're not getting a ton of PBUs. They're not taking the football away. I know, like, if you're a quarterback and you're going against Houston secondary, it's like, how much do I really want to try these guys with kind of those opportunity 50-50 throws? I don't feel the same way about this Packers secondary right now.
Yeah, and I would say them going against the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, outside of DK Metcalf, is an opportunity. the Pittsburgh Steelers need more out of their wide receiver unit. Like, you're watching Aaron Rodgers earlier in the season. We talked about him looking unsettled in the pocket. LaFleur just talked about it. He's moving great. He is now settled into the pocket. They've done some things protection-wise where he feels really comfortable behind this offensive line, but he's had to lean more on the tight ends in Washington, Freiermuth, Hayward, because outside of DK Metcalf, they're just not getting much at wide receiver.
You like Jacoby Myers there?
I like Myers. I like Olave. I like Shaheed.
I'm into it, yeah.
I think they need just anything, something. And Calvin Austin will come back and they'll give him a little bit of a boost. But I think they need a deep threat down the field opposite of DK. Otherwise, the way Aaron Rodgers is playing, you're not going to get the full benefit of it. Yeah. He's playing the way that you bargained for at the beginning when you decided.
I like either of those New Orleans receivers there, and then Jacoby I think would be a good add.
Jacoby would be great too.
Yeah.
Remember, trade deadline early November.
13 days away.
Exactly.
Not that I'm counting, but I'm definitely
thank
counting.
you for counting. I couldn't do the math. By the way, when pressured this season, Rodgers has overthrown or underthrown his receiver at the second highest rate in the NFL after Caleb Williams. So something to keep an eye on. All right, coming up, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles seek revenge. We got a lot of revenge going on this week against the Giants. Find out what Field thinks they need to do to get the win. That's next. You guys, it's such a brain buster because Micah Parsons also still feels wrong to me when I'm talking about the Packers.
I know.
It's like Aaron Rodgers still feels like he's on the Packers and Micah Parsons feels like he's on the Cowboys.
Sounds like
Football, which had been a struggle in their first 6 games. Hurts went 3 for 3 for 108 yards and 2 touchdowns, targeting Brown on passes at least 20 yards downfield. Those 3 completions on such throws are tied for their most in any game since becoming teammates in 2022. Dan, how can the Eagles offense, though, keep this momentum going against the Giants this week?
I will reiterate, I really liked the 6 offensive line stuff last week. I really liked the fact that they put Jalen Hurts under center, and I really like the fact that they sprinkled in some play action. Doesn't have to be exactly who they're going to be. I'll be interested to see, will they continue to do it 5, 6, 7 times in the game? The other question is, how do they get the run game going a little bit? We've talked schematically, the alignment of Saquon Barkley, a little bit less gun. They're just getting beat one-on-one way more this year than they did last year, so you're trying to figure out the why. Tyler Steen, he's not Mekhi Beckham, okay? Still a good player. I think one thing, too, is like maybe not asking guys to make really difficult blocks. Watch the center here. He's got to reach the defensive tackle to the left. That's just a very difficult block to make. You'll see the center once again. He's got to get to the guy on our right, his left, and get outside of him. The ball's getting run outside. That's a very difficult block for
good defensive lineman too.
Yeah, this is the tight end. Watch the tight end. Instead of having the tackle and that 6 offensive linemen go to him, they're leaving the tight end one-on-one with the defensive end. Again, we're just asking guys to make very difficult blocks, and so I think that, can we create a little bit better? This place has been notorious for like making angles easy for guys and leverage easy for guys. That's got to get tweaked a little bit and not ask him to make impossible blocks that maybe Jason Kelsey 3-4 years ago could.
I mean, and you look at the tape, you see how many people are in the box. Like, I don't want to make it rudimentary, but when you have success passing the football, you will alleviate the pressure that you're putting on your run game. But to do that, you need to be decisive. You need to, when you have one-on-ones very similar that we saw in the Devontae Smith tape, you let it fly. You don't second guess it. You put it out there. And that's what Jalen Smith did better this week than he has in weeks past. He saw it and he threw it. Period. Right? You give your
way more
receivers,
anticipation this
way
past
more.
week.
Like, it's like I'm throwing these footballs the moment I see somebody coming open, and if he can lock onto that, it will be a trickle-down effect of the run game, because when you're too heavily relying on it, which they have been, it's going to be impossible to beat those kind of looks.
Really good X's and O's from both of you guys. And Nick Sirianni just said, our job is to make sure we're not too high or too low for any game compared to the others. I got to be honest, if I'm an Eagles player and I can't find a way to get up for this game, then we don't have that championship mentality. The Giants punked the Eagles 2 weeks ago on Thursday Night Football. Completely dominated them at the line of scrimmage. Saquon Barkley had no running room after the Giants had previously been allowing 140 rushing yards per game. The offense was all out of sync and the defense was not much better. Cam Skadaboo found the end zone 3 times in this game. When you're as good as the Philadelphia Eagles roster is, and there are enough adjustments that Dan and Hawk just laid out that can be made, I think, relatively cleanly, then sometimes it is about your mentality, your mindset going into a game, your will to not be embarrassed once again. Playing at home this time against the Giants. They're 5-2. They're in front of the division, but this game means more than your average game against a team that's 2-5 like the New York Giants are.
Yeah, Hawk, we did see another cryptic A.J. Brown social media post.
Another one?
This week it was using me but not using me. Now listen, I haven't seen, if he's commented on this, please forgive me because I haven't seen a comment on it, but you always have a good translation for what this may be. The receiver brain, you understand it. What is this?
I'm not gonna lie.
Did he have 2 tutties last week?
He did, and I'm getting a little fatigued
Yeah.
with the lost in translation in the tweets from A.J. Brown. You know, like I played with a different A.J. It was Green,
Yeah.
not Brown. And
How many words did A.J. Green speak in his entire
He barely
career?
said hi when you came in the room, let alone send
But
a
he was
tweet out.
making catches, though, now.
He was. I prefer my
is this
Green.
guy.
Oh, but he is
Good
too.
point.
But it always comes with a little bit of to throw you off on the the cryptic tweet.
We were, this came out on Monday, and we were talking about it, and it's like, all right, so then he's going to have something in the locker room where he's going to be like, no, I didn't really mean
Like, what
that.
are you talking about?
Like, it wasn't that.
Now he's
You guys are
gaslighting
wrong.
me.
Yeah,
That's the part I don't like, because I
what?
defend,
Using
and then he
me, but not-
gaslights.
Is he using us?
He's
using us.
using me, but not using me.
That was the quote.
You feel me?
Dan, did a light bulb go off? I feel like
I
you went.
don't-
All right, wait. We got 20 seconds. Dan, happy birthday, Lenny.
Happy birthday to Lenny. Lenny, who's my daughter. She
Happy
turns
birthday,
10.
Lenny.
Massive soccer game Saturday, 3 o'clock.
Oh,
Semifinals
let's
title.
go.
Lenny!
Happy birthday,